This is your host Vaughn at ICSI Radio in downtown Isle La Crosse. With a public service announcement on behalf of the Métis National Council, a team will be videotaping the stories of Métis residential school, mission day school, and boarding school attendees and their families. We would like your help with compiling a list of names and contact numbers for those who may be interested in sharing their stories with us.
I remember really well. When I got there, my parents were with me. Mother and dad brought us to school. So there was only nuns at that time. When the first day when I walked into the building, right away I found a lot of difference between home and there, because when I couldn't hardly understand what the sister was talking about because my English was poor. And right away when they told us to write our names in a paper, I wrote my name with a cross that I couldn't write my name at first. I wrote a cross and the sister told me right away, he said, "You will not be using this name while you're here in the school." They gave me a name for a number. My number was 36.
We were day school. We went to day school, but we had the same teachers the residential school children had. You know, they just exchange. You know, they all stayed in Pine Creek in the residential school. That's where they lived. But they came to Camberville to teach every day. I was very, I had a very bad resentment towards, and it's not the church. It's not the religion, it's the nuns themselves. How they abuse us, how they pulled my hair, you know, if I didn't do right, or if, you know, we used to use those great big rollers and come and slap you on the head, like from the behind, you know, if you're not doing something right or whatever, you know. How could you learn something when you're living in fear?
And I just wanted to leave for a long time. Then it got worse. I wouldn't listen. I didn't want to listen. I thought if I wouldn't listen, they'd send me back. I was punished a lot. I knelt down sometimes for days, but it was hardwood floors, and I can't remember what it was. It was sand or grain. They used to sprinkle on the floor, and we had to kneel in it. Our knees were pretty sore. And when I got the strap, it was severe. They'd strap me
All during that 8 years, I've lost my name and used being called by number 36 all through the year. And to tell you the truth, I was mentally disturbed of many things through the school years. They put us to work, not enough schooling. And my dad said, one day before we started, he said, son, you have to go to school if you want to be a carpenter to build your own house. And I was really happy, to go to school and learn something. And it didn't happen. They took that away from me, put me to work on different things. I was called every morning because there was some of us were big boys that didn't do the job, and less school at that time. And it was disturbing in my mind all the time why, and I come here to have education, to be able to have something in my life later on, as my dad wanted me to be. And through the years, I was disturbed, I was angered. I was really angered all the time, the way I was treated. The thing we had at home, the love we had at home from my parents, my mother, always had time to give us a little hug towards the evening. And usually they put us outside in the cold, not dressed normally, that we didn't have any clothes to play outside in the cold. Why not keep us inside the building when it's cold and if we wanted to be treated good? But a lot of people were getting sick on account of that. Also TB was the main thing in the school after you finished school, through the cold at that time.
Okay, I went to school that day, and then after school I went back home, and my grandmother, of course, she asked me to go to the store, and I'm, it's across the river, but it's broad daylight, so she said, go to the store for me, and of course she used to smoke, and I had to get some tobacco for her, and things that we needed, a few things in the house. And she says, the sister wants you. Oh, I got scared. I was deadly scared of those nuns. I said, why? I don't know. She said for me to come and get you. And I looked, and she's just over there, just like a man. Eh? So he took me right to the sisters.
Did strap me sometimes, be 40, 50 times on each hand. I couldn't even hold a pencil. But I wasn't allowed to cry. My older brother said not to cry. And they used to hold our fingers in an upright position and hit us with fairly wide ruler on the tip of our fingers. It felt like needles going into your fingers. If they weren't strapping me, they'd give me a bucket and a brush, and I'd have to do the floors. It was hardwood floors about 1 inch wide. I'd have to clean every crack, polish the floor. It was all the way to the chapel. We overlooked the chapel. I spent most of my time cleaning the floor. I never went much to school because they used us, we were the workhorse. There was white kids that came in the school through the day. They got the classes, the better treatment than what we did, because we lived there, I guess. They had stables outside where the cows were kept. And we had to shovel manure, and they wanted us to milk cows, and we couldn't do that. And if we got the milk dirty, we got punished again. So if the milk was too dirty, we'd throw the milk away and figured we wouldn't be punished. But it was more severe if we got rid of it. And then we did gardens, all around, pull weeds. And it wasn't good. I never learned nothing. I stayed 5 years in grade 1.
I still have the marks, and most of the marks are still showing in my, even this was broke here by the strap. And some of the cuts that I had here, mostly they're still show. And here's one of them too. After the 8 years of school, when I got out of school, I was full of anger and I couldn't hardly breathe coming out from the school. I couldn't breathe well because of the anger and mentally disturbed in my mind. In the early age, I started to drink alcohol, to get not to think about these things for many years. I went to alcohol right away because I was disturbed of the school. And during the time I was doing alcohol, I was about 15, 16 that time. And every time I had a fight with someone, when I hurt someone, I felt good. I felt good to hurt someone because I was hurt also in the school.
And I got up the stairs and I went in with the teacher, and Roger went. As soon as we got through the second door, she grabbed me. And there's shelves, and things like that. Honest to goodness, she started to strap me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this is happening. And and she's using a strap, and I could feel that strap on my neck, and on my ear. So I was laying there, so she came and grabbed me, and I remember, and she made me stand up, I guess, and she told me to go home, to go. A few days after, something busted in my ear. A pus and blood were just coming out. And so my auntie came in and she cleaned me. She cleaned my ear, and that was like that for days. And it was awful. At that time, like, I know what I was going through. I know some of my cousins, what they were going through. Unbelievable stuff, unbelievable. Honest to God. It really done a lot of damage to me. I didn't get an education. I lost that. How am I supposed to learn something when I live in fear? You know, honest to goodness, there was people pissing themselves right in classrooms. You know why? It's because they're nervous, eh? They were so nervous. They were scared to ask the sister, can I go to the bathroom? As honest to goodness, you wouldn't believe what happened in that school. It affected a lot of people. You know, a lot of people hurt themselves. A lot of people killed themselves. A lot of people, even me, I wanted to commit suicide. But I failed. But I wanted to die because I was no good to nobody. That's how they made me feel. They say, like I hear a lot of times, to kill the Indian in the child. Let's say to kill the spirit in that person. That's what they did. That's what they did.
I was still on alcohol at that time when I spoke to a friend of mine, an elder, that a good friend of mine. I needed to talk to someone to get over these things. And as soon as he said, Tony, he said, let's sit down and talk. When I started to speak about these things, I was just shivering, you know, in anger. I was talking about these things as I was talking to you right now. And many things that happened in the school. And the last thing I spoke about, you know, and I really felt good for the first time in my life. I wanted to scream. I wanted to dance. I wanted to cry. I just felt good. For the first time in my life, I started to breathe well again. Because I started to get things out of my system. And that's how I get my healing, by speaking to people. Not only once, in any time I meet my friends that I was in school with, we speak about these things, and we felt good about speaking about these things.
I did go back this summer. You know, I looked at part of the residential school that's there, and I thought to myself when I was sitting there, you know, they didn't break me. They just hurted me. But I went through life wondering what I did wrong. That was my biggest battle. What did I do to deserve that? I never found an answer.
Okay, there was more than one nun that hurt me, but one mostly, eh? Due to being a Catholic, like I'm gonna be 80 soon, but I forgave that woman. I know what you did to me was not right. I suffered lots on your hands. I suffered lots in that school where you taught. But I forgive you. The good Lord forgives you, I'm sure. I don't want to hold nothing against anybody like I hold resentments before, but it's pretty hard to forgive. You know, it takes a long time to practice that forgiving.
I wanted to look after my family. So I ended up, I had a little trucking company, I had 5 trucks. But it was always a constant battle. I never learned to read till after I got married. My wife and kids taught me. I did learn to love, but it wasn't through what I was taught. My wife taught me that.
You know, and anyone that needs to speak out there, you know, we're always ready to talk to these people, to give them a message and to be well again, and not to be there anymore, you know. We need a life. Life is so beautiful today. It's beautiful. I almost lost everything, but I made it come back. You know.
So, but I thank God I am a Catholic, and I'm a very strong Métis. So in my heart, it's all there.